What are some little-known relationship green flags? You don't feel like you're competing for their time. You're just loved, even when they are busy. You don't have to worry. People think you need to spend all your time with someone. You don't, but the feeling of being loved removes any jealousy or insecurities. You just know it's good. It's a pretty convoluted story. But I was dating a guy. Had to drive his car to get him from a situation. And wrecked his car due to mechanical failure. And called my mama to come get me so we could go get him. Rescued him. Then had to tell him I'd wrecked his car. His first question, "Are you okay?" My mom overheard. That one's a keeper. Came home from working a 12-hour shift one night to a full dinner with my favorite dessert. Never had a girlfriend just decide to cook me a full meal for me to come home to like that. Able to forgive mistakes. Early in our relationship I accidentally backed my car into my fiancé's car while coming out of the driveway. I definitely did damage. I immediately started freaking out and crying and he just calmly got out of his car. Came up to mine and asked if I was okay. He got me to calm down and said it was fine, it was just an accident. He never made me feel bad about it. He called it our little bump to my friends to minimize my embarrassment. We laugh about it to this day. Side note, his dad who works with cars fixed his car for him at no cost. Edit. No, he did not have any way of knowing his dad could fix the car. His father is not a mechanic. His father knows a mechanic. His father didn't bring up fixing the car until several months later. Genuine support in your life goals. Even if that means you two will have to go long distance for a while or will have to have conflicting work schedule or it will make your relationship harder in some way. If they love you and want you to be happy, they will be genuinely interested in what you want to do and will try to support you to do that in whatever way they can. They won't hold you back in any way. This is something me and my so have been facing something similar to this recently. He's just graduated and is looking for a job. As much as I want him to stay close by so we don't have to do long distance for any more time than we have to. I'm going home for the summer. But if he gets a job the other side of the country I won't stop him, and as long as I'm around I'll help him pack up. When you're on a road trip and your partner feeds you fries and helps you drink your soda or whatever. I think that's such a nice simple gesture of kindness. When your so takes criticism from you seriously without immediately trying to turn it back on you. If the converse is also true, you two stand a great chance of going the distance. Being able to emotionally connect even after an argument. When you like the person that you become when you're with them. Everyone projects a different version of themselves around different people, and if you don't like who you become when you're with someone, it's probably not going to be the healthiest relationship. Your so should bring out the best in you. When you never have to question their whereabouts and you get that safe feeling. My ex would tease me a lot and would tease me in front of his family. He would say things like, "Oh, she changed her outfit 3 times because she thought you guys would judge her." Or, "She didn't really want to come over but I convinced her." He would be laughing and joking, but these things would be the truth. When I was going to meet my current boyfriend's family I was really nervous. In the car I said, "Please don't tell them how nervous I am. It's so embarrassing." He looked at me in shock and said, "I'm on your side. Why would I tell them that?" And it was like a freaking light bulb. Love this guy. Non-sexual compliments. Your partner does things for you without asking and remembers little details. For example, I like eating with a fruit fork, the smaller version of the dinner fork. I actually googled that since our family calls them the little forks, lol. Anyway, my partner remembers this and will grab it for me when we're dishing up food. Another good one is they make you feel appreciated. Edit. It may be a cake fork or salad fork. Telling the little details about your day. There's something really precious about that, and you feel in tune with the other person. Willingness to forgive you when you make a mistake, speak in anger, etc. rather than hold a grudge or try to punish you. Doesn't mean they won't still be upset, of course. Willingness to admit fault and take responsibility when they make a mistake. Speak in anger, etc. and work on their own negative behaviors. Related, taking you seriously when something upsets you even if it doesn't seem like a big deal from their perspective. Not losing their temper when things don't go their way. Example, do you want to be with someone who blows up when the car breaks down on a road trip and makes everyone else miserable, or the person who calmly calls the repair service and tries to make the best of it? Not making personal attacks during arguments. Focusing more on how they are feeling and fixing the problem at hand. And then reconciling afterward, rather than lashing out with a list of perceived character flaws. Example: I feel disrespected when, rather than, you're such a disrespectful expletive of choice. Genuine care for you and others. A lack of self-centeredness. Being open to hear the perspectives of others, even when they don't agree. And understanding that they are not the center of the universe. They are not always right, and there is always something to learn. In short, emotional maturity. Listening to you and remembering the things you've said. Back when me and my boyfriend started dating, he'd sometimes bring up things that I've said before. My favorite foods, candies, etc. made me super happy and could tell he genuinely cared. I drink a lot of water and sometimes my BF would stay until late and I would fall asleep. Before leaving he always made sure I had a glass full of water on my nightstand in case I woke up thirsty. It's always the small details. Edit: I drink a healthy amount of water. Thank you for your concern lol. Active listening. Not just being there while you talk. Acutely giving opinions, advice if asked for, and generally caring for the conversion. Bonus: active listening during an argument. Not trying to win, but trying to resolve the problem. Edit: grammar. They trust you to stay at their apartment alone. They respect your food issues, weather preferences, allergies, etc. Bonus points: they defend you to their blood relatives. If she shows equal interest in hanging out with you, if it feels like you're dragging them into going on a date, they're really not into you, no matter what they may say. Besides, let's be honest, wouldn't you rather date someone who is as excited and interested in seeing you and you are in seeing them? You want your partner to be happy and not the other way around. Oftentimes people want to be in a relationship to solely make themselves happy. Edit: my point is different from making your partner happy and completely forgetting your own happiness. They communicate if they will be delayed and how long they will be. Talk things through before it becomes a screaming match. Not after. Asks about boundaries, traumas and doesn't judge you for them, but instead respects them. If you two are able to compromise. You recommend them a book or movie and they actually take the time to check it out. They actually want to spend time with you. Very subtle things that show they're a genuine person. Remembering things that you've told them and following up is definitely a good sign. It feels easy, effortless, unforced, natural. This is a good sign of a real connection. Compromise feels like second nature. You both breath thoughtfulness and consideration towards each other. You figure things out together. You see each other, respect each other, and appreciate each other. It's the small things, the doing something just because it will make your partner smile and expecting. Wanting nothing in return. A few months ago I was having a bad day and had texted my partner about the basics and he said to head over to his place after work. I showed up so defeated by the day. Opened the door, and my dog is there. He had spoken with my parents. Picked up my dog from their house because he knew that's what I needed. He was cooking dinner and told me to just go cuddle on the bed with my dog while he took care of everything else. That's when I knew he and I were in it for the long haul. Is your partner comprehensive when you are sincere and honest? Are you free to say what you think without being scolded? Putting the shopping cart back. Calling, texting just to see how you're doing, even if they don't need anything. Edit: used the wrong "you're" despite being a grammar fanatic. Remembering things you said, like foods you don't like or topics you are passionate about. Willingness to attend family events. Get to know your family, regardless of how difficult it might be. Maybe this is just me, but when someone doesn't care too much about people's opinions of them. Like when they aren't afraid to act goofy in front of people they don't know. I absolutely love people that don't take themselves too seriously. They text you first, makes you feel good and you know they genuinely wanna talk and like your presence. Not a helpful comment, but I just wanted to say reading these gave me back some faith in humanity and reminded me of all the wonderful people in my life that I'm lucky enough to have experienced these green flags with. Thanks Reddit smile. They're happy you have your own things you're into. You're happy they have their own things they're into. There's no battle of preferences. No nasty little hobby is dumb comments. Arguments are productive and fair. You listen to each other even when you're angry. They can still be difficult. And everyone gets too angry sometimes. But if one or both of you is constantly mad and fixating on the same issue, it's time to go to therapy or jet out of there. The person makes time for you. Whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, people will always find a way to make time for those they care about. Let's say I'm super busy with my day. I can find 10 seconds to respond to your text. I have to eat a meal at some point. So even if I'm super pressed, I can invite you to have a meal with me. At restaurant, at a fast food place, at someone's home. I can call you when I'm driving in my car. It baffles me when people say, "I was too busy." Too busy to what? You mean you couldn't spare 10 seconds from your day to try to nourish your relationship with the other person? We all know you were on your phone while pooping. You could have texted then. These are all great, but here's one that matters more for the longer term. Being competent at life. I'm not saying being rich or having a fantastic job or anything. I mean someone who is able to set a goal and work towards achieving it. No matter what that is. It makes a huge difference in life. Someone who can do that is less likely to sabotage your marriage for selfish, immature reasons. Someone who can do that probably won't drag you down with credit card debt. They have impulse control, so they probably won't cheat on you or leave you for some stupid reason. That person is a keeper. When I met my current partner, we spent 3 consecutive days together. I generally don't like anyone in my personal space for more than a few hours. I also cried when he left to go home. We were long distance at the time. That's how I knew he was the one. Being good with animals. This is dumb, but that's something that sticks out to me. When my girlfriend and I first started to date, she remembered the game Escape from Tarkov. I was obsessed with and always asked about it. I knew she was the one for me when she opened up our Bumble chat with an always sunny line. While we were dating, my now wife would always put on a fake diamond ring whenever she would go out with her girlfriends. When I noticed it once and asked her about it, she said she would do it because it would discourage most, certainly not all, guys from hitting on her. It showed the type of person she was and was such a simple and easy gesture that no one I ever dated before had ever done. I obviously had to replace that fake one with a real one. Asking follow-up questions about their stories instead of just offering comparative experiences. Shows they're trying to understand and learn instead of just relate. When each person can find contentment without the other being present. A common red flag is the expectation that someone else can make you happy, when in reality that's something only you can do for yourself. The above is the opposite of that. Both of you feel like you are dating up. You don't have to chase them down to hang out. Like my ex was severely mentally abusive and would punish me by blowing me off. This was after 4 years of dating. Not like we were fresh and it was appropriate to not respond for days. So we finally broke up and met my now husband. He actually wanted to see me all the time. At first I thought he was a lil clingy. But then I realized, if you love someone, you should want to be around them. Having similar hobbies and the same taste in food goes a long way to help both people grow together. It's okay to sit quietly and know nothing's wrong. It's okay to read a book on one end of the couch and the other person is doing whatever they want on the other end of the couch, and that's okay. Saying that you want something or need something is not an attack and you both know it. Basically, being comfortable being you around your partner and being able to communicate in the event that you're not comfortable. My current boyfriend isn't good at telling me he loves me. He's not good at communicating or picking up cues sometimes because of him being autistic. I've noticed though that there's a lot of little things he does that tell me he cares. I've made a mental list. When we watch a movie, he makes sure the blanket covers my toes and that I'm not cold and that I'm comfy. He doesn't just ignore me while the movie is going, and he's always making sure I'm comfortable and happy. When we go out and I'm pulling off a hoodie, he grabs my t-shirt and holds the hem down to make sure I don't flash everyone when it lifts. It means a lot, and it's a bit funny to me that he's always watching what I'm doing and being careful. He always makes sure to walk me home now, especially after I told him I was grabbed in broad daylight and didn't want to walk home alone at night. With previous exes, they'd have dismissed me and told me to suck it up or that no way was anyone doing that to me. He listens to me when I say I'm uncomfortable and makes sure to always ask multiple times just to check. He was extremely accepting and reassuring when I told him about being molested and abused when I was younger. He's not overly possessive and he believes in me, which means a lot. I'm bi and I've had exes on both sides think badly and assume I'm cheating. He does not. He never does. He doesn't mind that my roommate is another guy and that I make semi-erotic content. He's wonderful. One of my favorite things is that he's great at communicating and working with me on little problems. He likes to listen to my perspective first and my solution, and he always trusts me and what I think. You know right away where you stand with them. For the longest time, every single guy the first went out with always made me feel at least a little insecure about their intentions. I just chalked it up to a sorta, men are from Mars, women are from Venus type thing. Guys just naturally want to play the field and women naturally want to nail them down. However, I know the story of how my parents got together and it didn't mesh with that idea at all. So I always had it in the back of my head not to settle for it. When my parents met, my father was quite the player. He, of course, did not tell me this directly, but everyone else has, and he made no effort to hide it in his stories from his youth. They met at an event one night and had just one conversation. He took my mother's number. He called her the next day to set up a date. On the first date, they set up their second date, and it went from there. There was never any question. Eventually, I met the man who would become my husband, and it was exactly the same way. I'm not saying it was love at first sight, or I knew right away he was the one. I'm just saying it was possible, and it did prove to be a good test of intentions and staying power. Ask follow-up questions to your stories. Bring you small but thoughtful gifts randomly. I appreciate the things you do for me. Thank you for calling, texting, good morning, good night, sleep well, sweet dreams, have a good day at work. Text, call me when you get there. When you leave, hand-holding when crossing a street or parking lot. Have you eaten? Let me know if you need anything. ECT. Only one of you likes olives.